Leah had always needed to come out on top. Winning mattered more to her than peace, even in trivial disputes. She always had to deliver the final remark, sharp enough to prove her right. But that evening, her frustration overwhelmed her. Her voice grew sharper, her words more rapid, until one sentence escaped before she could stop it. "You argue too much for a man. No wonder you're lacking in that department." The instant the words left her lips, the air between them changed. It didn't erupt. Collapsed. Marcus didn't yell or strike back. He just froze, his jaw clenched, his fists tightened at his side, and his eyes darkened with something deeper than fury. A wound split open that she hadn't realized was there. Without a single word, he turned and walked away. Leah stood in the heavy silence, expecting him to storm back like always, ready to continue the argument. But this time, he didn't. The quiet stretched, jagged and unbearable, cutting deeper than any insult could. That night, Marcus never returned to their bed. She thought he'd slip in once she was asleep, and that by morning they would fall back into their old rhythm. But when she awoke, his side was untouched. He not twisted inside her. She searched the house until she found him in the spare room, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring into nothing. He wasn't sulking, he wasn't pouting. He was simply absent in a way she couldn't reach. From the doorway she called his name. No response. She asked why he had slept there, if he was still upset, if he would come back. His eyes flicked toward her briefly, and when he finally spoke, his voice was soft, almost weightless, but heavier than any anger. Days passed, he didn't return. If she entered a room, he left it. If she spoke, he stayed silent. If she reached for his hand, he pulled away. This wasn't a fight anymore. It felt like something had ended. Desperate, Leah tried everything she knew. She cooked his favorite meals he ate without tasting. She left handwritten apologies. He ignored them. She brushed against him playfully, tried to remind him of their laughter, of their happiness. Nothing broke through. That was when she realized something terrifying. She had always believed their arguments meant life still burned between them. If they were shouting, it meant they still cared. But this silence was different. This was the sound of something already broken. What she didn't grasp was how deeply her words had pierced. Marcus carried scars long before her. As a teenager, he'd been the target of relentless whispers, mocked through school corridors. A cruel comment in the locker room had grown into a rumor that shadowed him for years. He still remembered the cold expression on the girl he once loved when she heard it. How her eyes turned distant, as though he no longer existed. Humiliation followed him into adulthood. Later, another wound struck. He walked in on his partner with someone else. He demanded answers. She hadn't cried or begged. She had only shrugged and said the words that haunted him ever since. "You re not enough for me?" From that day, Marcus built walls around his pain, convincing himself he was fine. Then, Leah entered his life. With her, he felt whole, as though the past no longer had power over him. Until that night. Her words, "You argue too much for someone who's hardly a man. No wonder you're lacking," reopened every scar. Suddenly, he was back in those halls, back in betrayal. Only this time, the blow came from the one person he trusted most. For the first time in their marriage, Marcus wondered if he could ever see her the same way again. Leah clung to the hope that time would mend the wound. But with each passing day, Marcus drifted further. One evening, she entered the spare room determined to try again, but he wasn't there. She heard the shower running, His phone glowing on the bed caught her eye. She never snooped, but this time her gaze landed on the words on the screen. Subject: initiating divorce proceedings. Her breath caught. Divorce. She told herself it was a mistake, but deep down she knew it was real. When Marcus stepped out, she asked softly, "Are you really ending our marriage over one fight?" For the first time in weeks, his eyes met hers. No fury, no heartbreak, only emptiness. His voice was steady. "You think this is just about that night?" And in that moment, she understood. It wasn't only the cruel remark, it was his past, his pain, and the distance they had ignored. That night was merely the breaking point. Desperate, she threw herself into saving them. She apologized in every way she knew, through words, through actions, through small reminders of their love. But his replies were short, hollow. His silence said more than words ever could. Did he still want to stay? She didn't need an answer. His absence already screamed it. She had always believed regret could be undone, that love could repair mistakes. But some wounds were too deep. One night, she found him packing. A suitcase lay open, clothes folded neatly inside. Panic surged. "Are you really leaving?" she whispered. Marcus didn't answer right away. He rested his hands on the suitcase, exhaled, then finally turned toward her. His tone was calm, but carried the truth she dreaded. "I don't know if I can get past this." Those words cut deeper than anger ever could. Tears welled in her eyes as her pride crumbled. "I love you," she whispered. "I made a mistake. I wish I could take it back. Just tell me what to do." For the first time in weeks, something flickered in his expression. Not emptiness, but hesitation. He paused, then said quietly, "You can't unsay what you said, and I can't unhear it." Her heart broke, but then he added, "Maybe I'm not ready to leave. Not yet." It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't a promise, but it was something. That night, Marcus stayed, though the distance remained. The scars wouldn't vanish, and the road to healing would be long. Leah finally understood that love wasn't about winning arguments. It was about surviving the wounds they left behind. Whether theirs would survive, only time would tell.